And again, all of our understandings are incomplete. They really are. You know, um, my father and Bob, our next door neighbor. I think they're very similar in temperament. They see me running around with the kids, and they say, "Oh, I'm so tired." And he says, Amir, kids keep you young. And the truth is, I am right, and he is right. But he's right because of his temperament, because of his age, and I'm right because of my temperament and my age and how my day has been. And so, the bigger, the grander your understanding, the more it can handle conflicts or differing perspectives. Um, if you've ever been in relationships, and all of us in this room have, no relationship is without arguments, fights. Okay. Let's say you want to understand the reason for your argument. Why, for example, your companion keeps pushing a certain agenda. Okay. Well, try to stop interfering him or her. Or insert your own ideas. Just say, okay, honey, let me see what you're talking about. You have to be profoundly passive. In some ways, you just can't even exist. And then you tell them, so you want them to go to Kumon at the age of 4 because they're Einstein? They're kids. They want to go out there, they want to play, they want to break things, and you want to put them to Kumon for what reason? That's right, it's America. Their future is uncertain. You want to make sure that they're as secure as possible, so you clip their wings at the age of 4 or 5 in hopes that they'll become a genius. And then you say, well, that's really ambitious. Is being that ambitious good at this stage in our life or their life? And then you just sit and you go from one branch to another, and there are infinite number of branches. It just gets exhausting. But we rarely do that. Your husband says, you can't go to the gathering tonight. You say, what? I've been going all these nights. What do you mean I can't go? Listen, I just can't. You just can't go. I need your help. Help with what? Just do it yourself, man. Says, well, I've been working all day. I'm a little exhausted. Just don't go tonight. That's a sacrifice you have to make, but the sacrifice is emotional. Then he says, are you telling me that you prefer that place to this place? What kind of a wife, what kind of a mother, what kind of a this, what kind of a that are you? It's devastating. If you have understanding, you also have the benefit of not only do you understand something intellectually, you also understand it emotionally. But when you just have the feelings, you have the feelings, but you may not have the understanding of the feelings or understanding in a reflective way. When you understand something really, really well, you have access to both the emotions and the reflections, the inner workings. But when you just feel, you have zero understanding. Stacy, anything? You know, one of the problems with doing dissertations about things that you really, really enjoy, to understand anything, you need to have lots of information and knowledge. You need to have information, and then you have to kind of piece the information together. You just become a donkey carrying data and information on your back, and then you have to go rest somewhere and put them together. You can enjoy gathering knowledge, but you know, once in a while you become passionate about them, but for the most part, it's just hard work. You can't understand things without knowledge, without information, without doing research. You know. You know, in some ways, I think it's really good when you read the biographies or life stories of like someone like Socrates or Malcolm X or Jesus Christ, if there is a biography. You know, because what you and I get is that he's a guy who had profound religious, spiritual experiences. You know, but when someone says, forget all that stuff, let me just tell you, you know, what he went through some 2,000 years ago, for example, in a town of 400 people. You don't leave your parents. Do you know how devastating it is for parents to just one morning wake up and see that their son is not there? You know? And you're a Jew. Life has meaning. There is God. There is a synagogue. A village of 400 people. Everyone knows everyone. I mean, so the first thing that a spiritual quest demands is what? You have no parents. They're not your home. They gave birth to your body, but that's all they did. How could anyone look at their parents like that? You know. And then you belong to a culture. You come to a place where you realize that culture doesn't give you anything either. It's hollow. There is also religion. You know, for the Jews, the book is alive. The synagogue is a totem. It's the center of the universe, but not for Jesus. I mean, this is a man who has nothing, Cassie, nothing. And he becomes a wanderer. I mean, you know how difficult it is to be a nomad? To have no physical home, no emotional home, no intellectual home. All you know is that, you know, you just have this pain inside that just won't leave you alone. You know, when you look at the life of Jesus from an emotional stance, it's beautiful. It can inspire, excite you. When you break it open, piece by piece, and you say, this is what you need to go through to get to where Jesus is. Say, really? You're telling me that I gotta do what he actually asked of that rich young man? to go sell everything you have and follow me, sell my parents, sell my culture, sell my psychological narratives, sell my history, and then where are you going? I'm a nomad. I go from town to town. I don't think very many people desire that kind of an understanding. It has too much work in it and very little emotions that are pleasant. Anything else, Cassie?
What kind of emotions does it have?
Understanding? I think understanding creates some feelings, sometimes joy, mostly sorrow. Depends again, I mean, there's a good amount of awe in it, because I think every piece that you try to understand is like a universe opening itself up to you. And you have no idea what to do with what you see, you know. I think there are different stages in the things that you understand. First, it's the private act of understanding, that it's you, it's the thing you want to understand, and then it's the wrestling match that begins, the journey that you have to take towards whatever it is that you want to understand, you know. In many ways, it's negative in the sense that you can't really easily reach the thing that you want to understand. You have to kind of like Gilgamesh through all these tests and trials. Maybe you'll succeed, maybe you fail, who knows. The next step is the expression of the thing that you understand. And the more animated you are, the more comprehensive that you are, the more articulate, the more eloquent that you are in trying to express the thing you understand, the more awe-inspiring, the more exciting, the more fascinating. You embody something. I don't really know what it is that you embody, but there is an intensity that now lives inside you. It's like you and the thing you understand are one and the same. Not completely, because you're always going to be limited, but there is so much of you and the journey and the struggle and the thing that has been opened unto you, revealed to you. They're like one big gigantic piece, you know. And in many ways, it's like trying to compose a song or a piece of music where you do all these takes. Take one, and you just have the flute. Take two, flute and piano. It becomes richer. Take three, flute, piano, and the drums. Take 4, violin gets involved. Take 5, cello gets involved. And all of a sudden you have this huge orchestra, with all these instruments kind of playing this music. And, you sit there and you listen to this, it just goes inside you. And you have no idea what to do because it seems like your body is way, way too small to contain the power of the music, and you feel as if you're going to kind of burst open, sometimes when you understand something, I don't know, you can cry, you can pray, you can be sad. But I think when you're on the stage trying to express, and by no means will you be able to express it well the first 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times. It really is like something that just unfolds as you keep doing it, and you become better and more refined. And I guess in some ways that's how teaching is. If you happen to have some talent in it, the more you do it, the better you become. I've no doubt that all of you have experienced this. Your syllabus is 2 pages, then it gets to 4, then it gets to 6. It's like your Canvas modules, for the weeks. You add this video, and before you know it, you have like 50 items on week 1. It's such a, I think, difficult juggling act the moment you want to express your understanding, because there really are so many different elements involved. And then I think, expressing the thing you understand, initially it's about you. Then what it is that you're expressing becomes not so much about you anymore. It's about your audience now and how it's going to impact them, how they're going to be made to feel. So that red book, Jung, it's a collection of experiments he did on himself, and no one knew of it. He never told his kids. There were things he tried to understand about himself and the unconscious. And he goes into these really just crazy and insane modes of expression and thinking and understanding. There are so many points in the book where he says that he thought that he needs to go to a therapist to get some medication because he had no idea what's happening to him, and that's the price that you pay depending on how courageous and how brave you are into going into territories that you've never been in, But it is a journey that no one can accompany you. For the most part, you're on your own by yourself. I think when we had our gatherings, Hussein was the guide, he was like taking this ship here and there. Once in a while, you would find yourself completely isolated and abandoned, and that you were forced to kind of do things on your own. No one could reach you. But those were just tiny moments in time. Eventually, a phone call from Hussein, or going to the shop, or going to his house, would again set things straight. I think if you have been able to pay attention to the difficulties of marriage and having children or having a child, next time an 18-year-old walks into your office and says, I want to get married to Bobby or Johnny or Joey, if you have observed and understood the complexities, talk about those complexities to an 18-year-old, and they'll be terrified. You know, and depending, how well you understand and how honest you are, you just pray that this 18-year-old never runs into your husband by accident. Because then he or she will say, did you know that your wife said this about marriage, and this about motherhood, and this about family life? And I think there is a reason why, all these New Age gurus have so many followers. They lack understanding, and the people in the audience don't really want to understand. They're after fluff. Understanding ultimately demands change. And it's too much. It's too much to change. It's too difficult.